pressed the button.
You've was it the little red one with the circle?
Yes. Unfortunately, on my Mac, it doesn't say record, but I know in my heart that it says record.
And I'm sure we will get wrecked very soon.
All right, welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Yep.
I'm Pat.
I'm Stubby.
I'm Nettie.
Yeah, and we're one person short today.
Yeah.
This is probably, who knows when this is going to see the light of day, but Danny Boy's gone off. He's expecting a baby boy or girl. We're not sure what yet.
Bouncing bub number 2.
Either way, we know it'll be an abomination.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
An abomination!
That will rule the world.
An affront to everything God.
Either with kindness or an iron fist of tyranny.
I'll just be happy to be here.
I'm sure by the time this comes out, there is a healthy baby of some variety in the world that wasn't there before. And we wish you the best, Daniel. But until then, it's just going to be us three for a bit. And if we can manage to snag anyone else,
we'll ride the tricycle for a little bit. I've been dabbling in the idea of trying to get him in on some sort of Skype call or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
we should just fucking
see how we go
and put him on loudspeaker. Hey, you're on the podcast,
no.
man.
I think I also said something about getting a dictaphone that just has him saying, "I'm just happy to be here." And just clicking
you know
the
what?
play button.
When I go see him with the baby, I will record that and I'll have it as a soundbite.
Oh, please do. That'd be great.
So we're going to get into something. And so let's start this off. I'm going to put a spoiler warning, but by the time this comes out, I'm sure it's not going to be necessary.
Yeah, it'll be well documented by then.
And I feel like I need to start this episode by saying that we have 3 of our 4 members here. Mm-hmm. And this opinion, this very strong opinion, represents one of the 4.
Well, let's be honest. There's strong opinions on all sides here.
Okay.
That's pretty true. It's true.
Okay.
There's strong opinions on all sides.
And as we have established in previous
in different
podcasts,
directions.
you are entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll let you have the stage at some
I'm
point.
glad you're prepping yourself. This is good.
Well, I mean,
okay.
No,
Move the mirror out of the way. Sorry, listeners can't see the mirror.
What color is a mirror?
Pat colored at the moment.
Fuck you both. I am colorblind. I hate you.
Well, you see yourself in very interesting shades. Sure.
So, spoiler warning for Deadpool versus Wolverine. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine. Sorry, not Deadpool versus...
Or Deadpool and Friend.
Or what was the buddy cop movie?
Rorschach and Deadpool.
No. They, we'll get into it if you don't know about it. You're gonna fucking love this if you don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love that it was originally called though Deadpool and Friend.
Yeah.
And then
it was almost something else as well.
It was almost 3 things.
Well, we'll get there. Well, you've got your notes out ready to go.
Notes.
All right, so the crux of this episode is we all saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and 3 of the 4 members of this podcast loved it and thought it's the best thing that Marvel has made in a long time, and 1 person said, no. Nettie?
I have a confession to make. So I haven't actually seen the movie because
What?
It's a Marvel product, right? So Marvel famously make enormous pieces of shit at the moment. Phase 4 and 5 have been an absolute disaster. So there's no way
I mean, I
will
actually pay that. Yes.
Pay money to these fucking hacks, right? So before I saw the movie, I was like, I'm going to fucking check out the people who I really like on the internet who do reviews and stuff and see what they think about it. And there were some people who were like, oh yeah, we enjoyed it. Some people who really liked it. But then there were some people who were not big fans of it. And so I looked into it. So I checked out the plot synopsis. I've looked into everything that I can into the movie. So I know what happens in the film because there's no way to sail the 7 seas and see this film. Right? And I'm not fucking paying Marvel, like, at all. They're disgusting. So
that's a very grey area statement. But
so
anyway.
I think I need to say at the top of this, the people of the Just Press Record or Finally Press Record podcast do not endorse piracy of any way, shape, or form.
However,
if you do not think there is a way to see this movie on the 7 seas, you're not looking hard enough. And B, I will say my opinion of your argument is slightly tainted by the fact that you haven't seen the movie.
That's fair. That's fine. But we're going to go into it.
We're going to
go into it.
Because I have read some of those plot synopsises now.
Yeah.
And there is a lot, like, you cannot get a lot of the film from those.
Yeah, sure.
The content and context are so woven.
Let's break it down, okay?
So-
I will say, I know that you're coming in fierce, and you're coming in fierce.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie. I know it was not a perfect movie, and you called me out on that before. I say pointing at Stubby. It isn't a perfect movie. It does have problems. I'm interested to hear what you have an issue with.
Yeah.
But I am slightly jaded by the fact that you haven't seen it.
That's fine. And I think that's fair. I think that's a fair way to be, because for me, yeah, I think it's only fair that I come in being honest. So I can't comment on the comedy or anything like that because I haven't seen it, and that's such a subjective thing as well. So I'm not going to be like, yeah, the jokes were all shit, because I actually don't know. I'm just going to be coming at you guys from a couple of angles. I'm going to be coming here and there.
So what you're saying is we should get some towels.
And everywhere.
Maybe
a lot of towels. Well, actually, I'm quite dry because this conversation is going to make me sad. But
really?
yeah, so
it'll make you sad.
So the biggest reason that I was worried about this film, and I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan, comic-wise or film-wise, right? I watched the first film. I really enjoyed it. And I've watched it a couple times after I saw it at the cinemas. But it's not like I love that film. I had a good time. I laughed quite a bit. And I thought it was really impressive what they did with an R-rated superhero film. I think it was quite an unprecedented thing for the time, and I agree with its success. I haven't seen the second film. Again, I know a lot of the plot stuff because I had to look into all this shit after finding out all the stuff they've done for this film. And the biggest worry I had for this film wasn't, is it going to be a good or bad Deadpool movie? It was, are they going to ruin Logan? Which is a film that I deeply adore. So I was like, okay, they're bringing Wolverine in, they're getting Hugh Jackman back. Deadpool is typically, well, not even typically, always like a fourth wall breaking sort of character. What are they going to do with Logan? Not in terms of just the character. What are they going to do with Logan that interacts with the stories that they've told in the past regarding X-Men 1, 2, and I guess 3, and, all the other stuff that's come previously, but especially Logan, which is a movie I really, really like. So I was worried about that. And then having seen where Marvel is at, now knowing that, that Marvel was acquiring Deadpool, I was like, okay, I'm not going to go and watch it straight away because, I know how Marvel is at the moment. And even though Ryan Reynolds has done a great job with the character so far, been very successful, Marvel and Disney have their iron fist. And no matter how irreverent Ryan Reynolds is and how much creativity he has, I'm sure there's going to be tailoring into his narrative. So yeah, I was worried. So I was like, I'm not just going to go and see it because I don't want to pay Marvel money. So I just looked into it, which is generally what I do with films that I am unsure about beforehand. I don't have the money to throw around to go and see movies. Movies are incredibly expensive. Well, at least for me. So
I would say that's a fair point.
Going to them,
Cinema experience is not what it used to be.
So,
pre-COVID.
funnily enough, with Deadpool, my wife and I had gone to see Inside Out 2.
Oh, yeah.
And paid to go see that. And the cinema, because we paid to go to one of the more nicer cinemas, hadn't been cleaned. Right? There was shit everywhere. Yeah. And so I put in a complaint about it and they gave me free movie tickets. So I actually saw Deadpool for free.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But you know why? It's because they've only got one poor bugger who is working that entire cinema.
There were 6 people that left that cinema, and this cinema is one of the ones that has day beds at the front so you can cuddle up and stuff like that. I'm thankful I didn't pay for that because they were covered in popcorn. They had not cleaned it, and this was the opening weekend of that movie.
Jesus, okay.
Anyway,
I
digress.
doing quite well from what I've heard. So
it was a good movie.
I saw it. It was okay.
The one the movie theater that I frequent, I don't think I've ever seen 2 workers there at once, ever. Like,
Is it the
I
one
just-
down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
I,
right.
feel, I genuinely feel sorry
I will
for those
say,
poor people.
I am surprised that cinema is still open.
It actually is showing, but that's because they're not paying anyone's wages. Because
Yeah,
there's no one there.
No one's
Just
going to
one
the
guy
films,
cranking
yeah.
a film. Anyway, sorry.
Well, I will ask. So, were there a lot of people at Deadpool and
Yes.
Wolverine?
Yes.
Were the crowd enjoying it?
Yes.
Because this has been a very successful film, which is a problem for me.
So,
Oh
So
my
this is
God.
why, but this is why
Hang on.
I think it's only fair that you're daunted by my sort of preamble into this because I understand, but there is a reason that I don't want to pay Marvel.
no, and that's fair enough. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And, like, we've put the spoiler warning, so I'm happy for us to talk openly about the movie, and you clearly don't care about spoilers.
Don't give.
It's funny, actually. Like, it's just... I've been watching so many interviews, like, because they have been just popping up on my feed. And so, like, it's just interesting that, I don't know why you keep on pointing the finger at Marvel. Marvel didn't have much to do with any of it.
If that's the case, it's still a problem, but
Like, I mean, it was...
No.
Marvel's-
It was Disney. Disney seems to be the main thing that Reynolds and Davies... I can't remember the writer, director...
I don't remember his name.
God damn it. But like
Here,
they always seem to just talk
Why
about
don't we start
Disney.
this off? Bullet point for us the issues that you have.
okay.
And then we'll get into the context, because we have seen the movie. We'll get into the context of it, because I want to tell you, just at the top of it, the whole thing you've said about Marvel Phase 4 and 5 and how shit it's been.
Yeah.
Like,
How Ryan Reynolds got away with it. He has like a 10-minute monologue at the end of the movie about how shit it has been.
yeah.
Yeah.
In a very fourth wall breaking.
Sort of. This is my problem. Marvel's DNA is there. Disney's DNA is still there. And
Definitely, I will say, but honestly, I don't feel any of the Marvel stank. I really don't. The only thing I think that the Marvel had something to do with was when they said, we want to use this character, if Marvel said yes or no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because one of the...
I have a lot of context for this that I can break down for you, because I've dived very deep into the rear end of this movie being made.
Because there are characters in it that are like... That was one of the reasons why I started...
There were meant
watching.
to be more.
Yeah, that's then... Yeah.
So,
okay. There are 3 letters that really will be my part when we address Marvel.
is it MCU?
No, it's TVA.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Okay. So, first things first, and this is like the inciting sort of incident for Wade Wilson, for Deadpool as well, I suppose. Like, this is...
Sean Levy. Sorry.
Sean
that's
Levy,
it.
yeah. He's the director,
Yeah,
also co-writer,
he's the director and
producer.
co-writer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, the film starts with Wade and Vanessa having this sort of conversation about Wade and his place in the world and how Vanessa isn't happy with who he is and he needs to go and become something. And he wants to be with her. Like, the implication is that she's going to leave if he doesn't keep being something of himself. So his idea is, I need to go and join the Avengers. Right? This is like the beginning of the film. It's the crux. It's literally what makes Wade go and do what he does throughout the whole film. He thinks he's not good enough for Vanessa, and she is, what, as far as we understand, claiming that she would leave him if he doesn't do good enough. And he believes this somehow, even though he's saved her life multiple times. He saved a child who was, being like going through a horrible shit in the second film. He fucking like built his own superhero team. He is like the X-Men are trying to employ him. He is not done small feats in his career as a superhero, right? Yet he believes that Vanessa would leave him. And also, she's just out of the film, by the way. She's like barely a character in the movie, even though she is
That part's
Hang on.
incredibly
That part's
important in the first 2 films.
Sorry, I can just feel like if we've got like
A doubt meter?
no, like a comments section, if this is on like YouTube or something, people are just typing like fuck.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. It's not actually what happened.
Is that bullet point 1?
This is bullet point 1, right?
Okay.
So the film starts with that.
So I will say to that, let's just tackle it as we
Yeah,
go
we should
on,
do
right?
it.
So one of my big complaints as I left the movie was that there was such, and I would I'm dying for the movie to come out so I can see what hit the cutting room floor. But
oh man, like
because
or something.
Because it was Deadpool and Wolverine, and they wanted so much focus on that. Literally every established character fell by the wayside.
And that's a huge problem.
It is. And I said, and like, I think I said it to Daniel, like, because he saw the movie before me because I had COVID. Yay. And we were talking about it afterwards, and I said, like, my biggest gripe with the movie is that his driving force for the movie is two things. The universe is ending, and I want to save my girl and prove that I'm something. And the girl is in the movie for 15 seconds. 7.5 at the start, 7.5 at the end.
Yep.
That's it.
And not just that, but she's one of the most important characters in the first film. She's one of the most important characters in the second film, and she's deeply important to Wade. And so, also, she's fucking Indara from Firefly. She does a fucking great job in the first two films.
Marina Bachara, man.
She's an actress with fucking chops. It's a crime that she doesn't get let in.
Look,
it's a crime that fucking Colossus isn't in it because he's great. It's a crime that Negasonic Teenager isn't in it as well.
She's
the
in
whole X-Force.
No, they're all in it, but for a very small amount of time.
Right, yeah,
and to the comment of what's her name?
Marina Bachara.
Oh right.
Yeah. She's only in the second movie for a short period of time as well.
She's super important.
She is, but you could make the same argument for this.
No, you can't, because she is incredibly plot important, and she still has a character in the second film. In this, she does not. And like, I've seen the scenes with her and Wade interacting. She feels flat, and she feels like they gave her expository dialogue so that Wade can go. And
I won't disagree with you there, but I will say she played about she did have a bit more character, but like the whole movie is about saving her again, but she's barely in the film.
Totally, but again, like, I think it's the distinction is that she still feels like a character in the second film.
Yeah, fair enough.
And like, but it sounds like we agree mostly about this first point.
Most of the complaints I have with the movie are around the pacing and the driving point of the story.
Sure.
But I still fucking love the movie, and I'll get into why when we get to it. But
sure.
So okay, well hang on, before we move too much further, we kind of have to say what everyone's typing like crazy. They've already split up.
Yes, which is a problem.
But she has never said anything against him. The only time she ever says anything about like him not being good enough is when oh god, what's her name? Xavier's sister.
Cassandra Nova.
Right. When she's in his head making him see things that didn't happen to freak him out.
That's a later point.
So he actually, like, the point that I got was that he became distant from her because he had her on such a pedestal. And I mean, as being in relationships, I think we've all done this at least once in our lives. Because you put them on such a high pedestal, you then don't feel like you're good enough for them.
Sure.
It's got nothing to do with what she was actually saying.
The implication of the movie, so like to Grant's thing, any commentary around you're not good enough was villain against Wade. What it was that she thought that he was getting bored basically of his life the way it was, and that he could do things bigger, and his idea of bigger was travel the multiverse and try and join the Avengers, and when that doesn't work, he gives up on everything and becomes a car salesman.
Totally. No, but there is still an intrinsic problem here. One, Wade, do we really think Wade would be that unaware of his own feelings of his and Vanessa's relationship? Because it is an incredibly strong relationship. You're
asking about a guy who has a yellow bobbled monologue inside his own head and has literally killed himself and the Marvel Universe multiple times.
And you're talking about this film, though, right?
Like, no. Just Deadpool in general.
But no. Let me address this in the context of the films, though. Keep in mind, this is a character that for the entire first film, he's trying to fix his face because he he feels like he's not adequate enough. He definitely like.
So it's treaded ground already. It's like we've done this, and he should know that their relationship is super strong.
But like we've all done that in like.
No, okay. So we've all done that in life. Like people are flawed, absolutely. If you want to try and establish that, you need to give much more than what they give in this film because they do not go into their relationship at all. What I'm saying is it's unfeasible ground. All they're doing is trying to get the story where they want it to go, which is cameos and Wolverine, which I guess is also, he's a glorified cameo in himself. But it's ultimately to put by the wayside the first two films and go, Deadpool, we want to get you here. That's my point. My point isn't that it can't happen, but A, they backseat her to do it, and B, it's something that I don't believe Wade Wilson would do at the beginning of this film without any context given, especially after the previous two films when their relationship is at its strongest.
I agree with you, and the comment I had was that if this movie was half an hour longer, I think we would have gotten a lot of the missing context. And again, I want to see what's on the cutting room floor.
But we don't have that.
I know we don't.
This film is doing incredibly well. And this is the crux of the story. This is the bedrock of the story of like, this is where Wade goes from to get to the rest of the film. So it's a problem already. We're on shaky ground straight away, right? And he's like, okay, I need to join a team. I'm going to go to another universe to join a superhero team when he has X-Force, when he has the X-Men who are constantly trying to recruit him. But no, we got to do the meta thing of he's joining the Avengers because the Avengers. Also, who are the Avengers at the moment? Like, really,
well, they go into that.
They go into it in the film.
Do go into that
but
in the film.
Going into the film, it's like who?
But keep in mind, the other thing is to take into account is that the time at which he tries to join the Avengers is pre-Infinity War. So it is back when it is Iron Man, it's Cap, it's Thor, like it's Infinity Saga. Because the
pre-snap,
right.
The scene at which he tries to join the Avengers is 2018. Like it's yeared,
right? But then at the same, okay,
and the whole thing about it is that that's a fourth wall break in and of itself. That's Deadpool saying, I'm joining the Marvel big leagues. We're part of the MCU. I want to join the Avengers because that's the main universe, or as the TV, like the sacred
timeline,
right?
Yeah,
which is a very TVA thing.
Oh god!
But that's the whole point.
I know you hate multiverse stuff, but it's like
I love Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's a great film.
No, I mean like okay, Marvel multiverse.
They have bungled the shit out of multiverses, and this is also the case. And the TVA are a poisonous blight on the Marvel universe, but we'll get into them. They're a later point. So my problem with all that is, yes, it can be read metatextually because he's actually literally joining the Marvel universe. So what? I'm looking at the text, and we can also look at the subtext, but textually it makes no sense. Textually, Wade wouldn't actually go, I need to go to a different universe to find a superhero team when there's one that's incredibly endorsed and also been seeking him out. Then there's also the one that he created, the X-Force.
The one that he created pretty much entirely died in the second movie.
No, he saved them all at the end of that film. In the post-credit scene, but he saves them all. They are canonically alive.
Saves Pete, doesn't he?
No, he saves Pete.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the only one he saves because Vanisher's dead. He gets electrocuted to explosion.
No, he goes back and saves them all, which is also addressed in this because Shatterstar is in this film.
Yeah.
So if Shatterstar's in the film, how are the rest not alive? Because the time he would go back to save Shatterstar, he would absolutely save the rest of the group. Even though, yes, he loves Pete the most. He absolutely would say... Exactly, right? And Pete is charming as fuck. But he absolutely would go and save all of them because that point...
I agree with you, but I think it's the bigger picture. And I know that's feeding into your argument.
Exactly.
But...
You know what? Like, here's my one, though. It's really, really funny between him and Happy. That back and forward...
I can't comment on
that back and forward is so funny because Happy comes across as if he's somehow an authority on the Avengers,
but
when he's really not.
Totally.
The other thing is that Robbie Downey Jr. was meant to be in that film.
He was supposed to be in that
Yeah,
scene.
And
that
then they
was right.
announced he's coming back as Doctor Doom.
Totally.
Yeah, so things had to change again.
But it could be funny. It could
It is
be
really
shit. Sure. And well,
really
like,
fun.
whether it is or not, do we still, like, can it still be funny without sacrificing it on the altar of it's funny?
So can I look?
Just wanted to laugh. It's
I
funny.
You're allowed to laugh.
And it was good for that.
I want to jump in here as sort of a devil's advocate and give you.
You're both the devil's...
No.
Oh, right, for me,
no. For everything, right?
Okay,
I'm gonna give you my high points and low points of the movie,
Yeah.
and you can jump in and tell me whether you think, because I see your notes, but without, and I want us to all be friends when we walk away from here.
I don't...
Come
Right,
on. That's
no,
why
no,
I did the
that's-
disclaimer.
there's
before
no-
we turned it on.
This
I
is a
do,
fucking movie.
But
Like-
no, I get
that's
that.
what-
But I feel like there's a degree of diving into context of a movie that you haven't actually watched. And I understand the problems,
Mhm.
but at the same time, this movie acted and was treated as kind of a swan song to all of the X-Men movies that came,
Sort of.
all of the Fox properties.
It's been treated that way, absolutely, yes.
and Marvel as well.
Sure.
Like,
I think we've especially the level of success that like phase like 4 and 5 have had. I think writing that ship, and especially with like issues that they've had with Kang and like all this kind of stuff. I think Deadpool felt to me sort of like. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna let Pat do all the.
you're
like,
gonna
go
Pat
this,
track?
because I'm gonna pat track. I'm gonna pat track a bit. Like I'm gonna let him go into, because the thing is, I don't even go into all the nitty gritty stuff. I just go into made me laugh. It was a funny movie.
Yeah, and
Sure,
I think at the end of it, that's the important thing,
The
right?
story for it is like saying that my spoon was bent in that Sunday. Like,
Here's
cares?
like part of it, right?
Sorry, I just want to respond to that.
the fingering the spoon is really important. I get that.
My feeling is the Sunday that I went and got once that was really delicious, i.e. the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh god,
It had its problems. No,
Oh, God.
but the Marvel Cinematic Universe was something to be proud of at one point. Like
up until
Endgame. Infinity War. I would say no, before Endgame. Endgame was a mess, but like Infinity War.
I liked Endgame.
No, I did too. Don't get me wrong, but it
I'm
has
just using the word
problems.
liked.
Yeah, no,
I'm just using the word
no,
liked.
exactly. Like we're not here to argue about whether Endgame's good or not.
Ragnarok is clearly the best.
Like I really like Ragnarok as well, but like something that I really enjoyed, then also mixed in with a really nice banana sundae, which was Logan and the like some of the X-Men films and all that sort of stuff, and then them coming and going, here you go, but it's a plate that looks like sundae, but it's actually shit that's been like molded and sculpted to look like a sundae.
But Logan wasn't part of the MCU though, was it?
No,
No,
I'm saying it's part of the
Fox
Fox.
property.
That's part of
Look,
So
the way-
the
the way-
MCU is the sundae,
Yeah.
the banana is Logan, and like
I
the
feel
X-Men
like
stuff.
if you take the nitty gritty out of it, right?
So the
At the crux of it all,
it's about laugh.
for you, it made you laugh. You enjoyed the movie, and I can say the same thing. For me, it was not a good Marvel movie. It was not a good Fox movie.
Yeah.
It paid love to both. It made fun of both.
Mm.
It was a good Deadpool movie.
But what does that mean? What do you mean it's not a good Marvel or Fox movie?
Because it didn't feel like either of them. Like it was paying homage to a lot of it. It was giving us cameos of characters we haven't seen for a long time. It was giving us fun. It was giving us a team up.
And it was
buddy
giving us
cop movie.
It was giving us cameos without context. Like it wasn't the reason why Elektra is here is because the Hand are gonna be a part of this blah 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 blah. It's like no, just Elektra's here.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but subtextually, the context is, which is the sort of the
That
the
they're
moral of the
forgotten.
story is forgotten characters, even though Gambit's never been in the cinematic.
Which is why he
universe.
has that funny joke of "I feel like I was born here."
But then it also,
Gambit
but then
has
that
actually
goes
been
against.
in the Fox.
He was
X-Men
in
movies.
the
X-Men
X-Men
Wolverine.
Origins, but not this one, which is Like, what if they wanted that one? Why didn't they get Taylor Lautner?
Whoever the guy was from Supernatural.
Yeah.
But a big part of that
there's actually
was
a big reason why Channing Tatum
Channing Tatum, because fans want that, right?
No, he signed on to be Gambit in 2016,
and it got cancelled late
3 times
in production.
Right, sure.
But
his story never began. The theme is stories never got to end. Let's, like what Electra says, let's have our stories end, right?
Yeah.
It falls apart. Like, it doesn't work subtextually as well as textually. So this is why I want to go point by point, because we will get to all this stuff.
Yeah.
I worry that we're going too deep into analysis of
a comedy.
Why is that
a comedy?
Why is that a problem? So is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And
that's like trying to say that there's deep philosophical meaning behind Super Troopers.
Why can't there be? Why is that a possibility?
Fucking shit.
Okay, the premise of your argument was a good comedy.
Yeah, it's not intended to be this is a bridge gap that explains so much shit. It's not intended to be a universe holding or building movie. If anything, it's actually supposed to tear it down.
Yes and no. It's also building the beginnings of a new universe, which is Wolverine coming in, Deadpool becoming part of the Marvel universe.
But this is
all these new characters. Like, it is. Wolverine is pretty much slated to be part of the Avengers or join the...
Yeah, but not this.
No, not this Wolverine, but it is a new beginning, right? Like, this is something that they're building.
I think
before you start, I want to ask the question, why can't a comedy be held on the same account as something like...
Because it's not being...
incredibly dramatic. Why can't we break them down the same? Because if that's the argument, we have nothing to talk about here. We just begin and end
I'm not saying we can't, but I feel like it's that thing, right? Like, you can read a story, or like you can read a breakdown of it, but without the visual like context of it, it becomes a very unforgiving exercise.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I see your point. I do. And I know how much you love Logan so much that like the opening credits, Deadpool brutally murdering people with Logan's corpse to the end sings bye bye bye.
Yeah.
So I can already tell that that's going to start you off on a sour note. But for me, the way I felt about it, I can nitpick. Like I said, the original cast fall by the wayside. I didn't like that. I've read, as we've established, a lot of comic books, and Cassandra Nova, the girl who played her, fantastic. The way they portrayed her, great. So underutilized though.
Yeah, totally.
Like, Cassandra Nova.
She's not even Cassandra Nova. Like,
no, she is. It's just, so they had Paradox and they had Cassandra Nova, and they didn't want to dip full in on them both being villains or both being like, you know, like the
antagonist of the
film, like it was antagonist. They both had reasons for doing it, and like neither of them was fully the villain, and I think that kind of hamstringed them a bit. And the pacing of the movie, like I said, I reckon if they had an extra half hour, we would have a more fulfilling movie, but we don't have that.
No, we don't.
But what we do have is a movie that I genuinely don't know how they got away with making. Because the amount they poke fun of this the whole time is that, so Ryan Reynolds came up with like 20 different versions of like the story before they settled on one.
Sure.
And Kevin Feige from Marvel, at the behest of Disney, gave them one rule: you can't do cocaine.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah. And
so they said, cool, we're going to make a joke out of it. And so that joke comes up a couple of times, but unlike the first two movies, you don't see a bag of cocaine.
There's no cane, right? There's no titties.
And
the
there's Lady Pool.
which is Blake Lively.
Which then I'm okay with that.
But that's the thing, right? It didn't need it. But Deadpool pushes the boundary quite a lot, and that was the only restriction they were given. The only other thing was that one joke was changed. And I have a feeling, because it was like the joke in question is now where the Pinocchio joke is. And I have a feeling they may have done something with Mickey Mouse and Disney said, no, you can't do that.
Oh,
How would you do it with Mickey Mouse? No, the Pinocchio joke specifically is because you have to lie to him.
No, but I'm saying
is
where...
very obviously a cut spot where it's like changed at the nth minute, which there's a couple of things, but I mean, that's a very, more of a deep dive that doesn't really have anything to do with the quality of the movie, which I do want to talk about that kind of stuff, but afterwards.
Well,
but yeah, like that part feels like, especially when you watch like the clips and shit of like people saying it, like even when I watched the movie, I was like, gee, that cutaway really, and like, and also Deadpool was clearly CG in that spot, and it was really obviously bad compared to the rest of it.
Fucking god awful.
Some of it, some of it's good. Like some of it's good, and some of it's
good.
terrible.
Some of it's not
like
great.
Nova's fingers through the fucking head genuinely was unsettling to me.
Sure.
That was, and I think that's where the entire CG budget went. It was all
It wasn't in the fucking bus scene, I'll tell you that part.
Oh, no, I can 1000% agree with you.
That bus
Even
scene
when we were
sucked.
watching it, me and my mate Blake went, oh god, that looked like shit.
And he's right.
I was like,
Right.
I think they ran out of money.
But like I still thoroughly enjoyed it. But I don't know how they got away with some of the stuff they like.
But I don't think that matters. That doesn't matter.
No, again, that's deeper stuff that I want to talk about after. Like, as far as the quality of the movie, it's a very different sort of a thing.
We could get to it, but like, yeah, okay, we'll get to that at the end. But,
Point
That's what I
two.
mean. I think,
Okay, so
point one is done.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think
I think this is going to be a long episode.
It'll be longer.
Like, honestly, like, most of my argument is going to be, I think you were expecting a little bit too much out of a Deadpool movie.
That's fucking awful. That's such a cop-out fucking argument.
But like I said, like...
because the first film has character, it has a story, it has serious moments.
It also has nothing to do with any of the other Marvel movies.
But why does that matter now?
Because now you're saying that it has to matter for this one.
Exactly, it should matter.
Why?
Because
if the first one didn't, why does this one have
what do you
to?
mean? The first one absolutely did. It had a clear, concise story. It made sense.
It didn't even have the same Colossus. It had a totally different fucking...
I will also say...
That's not a movie.
Pacing issues aside...
No, I'm not talking about pacing.
No. Pacing issues aside,
sorry,
and how we got into the crux of it, this still had a story that you could follow. It still had
it does
a storyline. It's just the
It's a slender thread.
me. I'm not saying it doesn't have a story. It's got a story, but the story is a mess. The story is an absolute shambles to get Deadpool from cameo to cameo and to get him and Wolverine together. It's also there to do these weird jokes like, oh, the MCU's in a bit of a low point at the moment to get people on their side when the MCU's not in a low point. It's in the fucking grave. It's shit. The MCU's garbage and they're going to throw that in? Look, really? This is the fucking film that was like, oh yeah, we couldn't afford the actual X-Men.
That's a joke.
It was a joke, but it made fun of the actual studio because they couldn't fucking actually get the X-Men. It was probably real. Whereas now it's like, oh, the MCU's in a bit of a low point. No, that's not actually looking at the MCU and making fun of it. That's someone going, either Ryan Reynolds toned it down or someone was like, you can't shit on the MCU really. Like, you're coming into it. Like, it is, the jokes are super toned down. Like you said, no cocaine, no titties. Which,
really?
Yeah, there's none. But
but I mean, like,
no, that wasn't a rule.
No, but they've softened the films. Like, they've totally softened the film compared to the previous ones. It's not
compared to 2, because I thought 2 was super soft. Because 2 about a man who was more of a superhero movie. Well, that's the thing. To me, 2 came across more of a superhero movie.
Sure.
The first one came across more as a comedy, and the third one feels more like a comedy than one or
if we
one or two
zoom
really
it out
does.
right.
Personally, I mean, I could be completely.
If we zoom it out
mind.
right, it as you said, Marvel's in the grave, right?
Yeah.
The only way up is up unless you're digging down.
Dig up, stupid.
Except for the frat boys.
Right.
They love
But
the
here's the
Marvel
thing,
movies.
right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The biggest complaint I had with Marvel after Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that, like the Infinity Saga in general, I was so excited for the Multiverse Saga,
Sure.
right? I was jizzing all up and down Grant.
Sure.
It's true, he was.
Yeah.
But then there was this newfandangled thing called Disney Plus. And we've got to have stuff on there. And we ended up getting like 3 or 4 Marvel movies plus 3 TV series. Like
And then
there
fucking
was
spicy flu.
there was a period of time where you couldn't go a fortnight without getting something new Marvel related.
Sure.
Right? And oversaturation was already something that they were struggling with in like the superhero franchise.
Yeah.
And it was, how do we get all these movies made? How do we get all these TV shows made? What are the cuts that we can make? All that sort of stuff. There are some genuine good moments throughout the multiverse stuff, but they are outweighed by bad ones.
Can you name a few?
Good moments?
Yeah.
Just like, genuinely for me, like there were parts of Doctor Strange that I enjoyed.
Like Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. And like from like
Spider-Man No Way Home stuff was also pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
Like
Fox.
having, but it was still part of it.
It's
still part of it, totally.
It's
But that's
actually
Fox.
part of the MCU.
it's not Fox, it was Sony, but it was an MCU movie.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of it was what we were excited about for the MCU, for the multiverse saga, which was
3 Spider-Man doing the point.
But not just that, like cameos or even main characters that we had seen from other versions of these movies
That will never get like proper representation in the
coming
current,
together. Like that's what I wanted for it, and we got bits and pieces of that. We got taste while still having things where I was like when we went and saw Avengers for the first time, right? And we saw Thanos at the end of the movie, and you and I were like, and everyone was going, "Who the fuck's that purple guy?" Right?
Yeah, I was like, "Who's Bolchinian?"
Right? Yeah, who's Bolchinian? And
he's a Bolchinian.
And look, Thanos evolved a lot after that. Like
really did change a lot.
They
became a character,
but like just
he actually got watered down a lot because the original Thanos is so much more
in
like
the comics.
Yeah, he's so much more 2D.
He's stupid.
And you know what?
I would say that's not watering down. I would say that's sprucing up the bowl. Like he was a genuinely interesting character in Infinity.
I do think he was genuinely, but the thing is, I think the fact that the original one was I want to have sex with death. It wasn't,
and that's the shame that we've like. That wasn't the point that the MCU could use Deadpool, because there are some great comic book storylines about a love triangle between Thanos, Lady Death, and Deadpool.
Yeah.
But like, let's all be honest. The good that's come out of the multiverse saga has heavily been weighed down by the bad.
I would genuinely say it's mostly bad. I think the good stuff was No Way Home, and that film still had problems. I really like all the Peter stuff. I think what you said, Stubbs, was that they were actually able to get these cameos, which I don't think should be the point. But then you said get the cameos and then genuinely respect the characters, which is the point. If we're going to get these cameos, if we're going to get all these people, if we're going to add them to our universe, give them characters, give them respect for the previous work that they've been in, which I would say No Way Home did for, and I'm not even a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man films, but
Andrew
Garfield's performance, you really feel it. He does a great job. Tobey Maguire, you feel he's a
and this is also where I do have to put my little asterisk in there. I fucking hate Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. I quite like him. Like I do
really
too. Enjoy him.
And look, he's eye candy for my wife. But,
I think Tom Holland himself is fucking great. Like I do like him, but I hate
the thing I was going to say though,
Yeah.
for the TV shows as well, like there are bits and pieces of them that I enjoyed. I know you hate the TVA, right? But
I hate Loki as well.
So, like, I've got to admit, like, I'm kind of halfway in the middle. I'm sure that you actually really, really like how they portrayed, like, the what was it? The 3 fucking voices of the universe or whatever it was.
I actually didn't, but
I was kind of in the middle because I hadn't read the comic books and I just like Tom Hiddleston. So
Tom Hiddleston's a great actor.
And I was watching it and it was like every now and then they would have really cool moments of just like bits between him and Sylvie, like that were like. See, I mean, like, I can see you're wincing and shit like that, but at the same time, I'm like,
so much.
See, this is the thing. I was like, of course he would fall in love with himself. That makes, like, such a perfect sort of an analogy for what Loki is really like.
But if she was charming and charismatic, she's not. And, like, also, if he were Loki, he's not. He is a watered-down Loki in that show. He's, like, he's just a pansy who gets led by the ear. He's like shit on and spat on. This is their own character and they do it. And this is why I have so many problems with a lot of the current Marvel phases, which is like, this character's no good anymore. Captain America's no good anymore. Like, fucking...
When did Cap go down?
Have you not seen Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I think for me...
Cap was in that?
No, they shit on him.
Talking about new
Oh,
Cap.
right, okay.
New
Cap.
Cap.
Right.
And like, but
Here's
also...
I'm thinking like...
Here's the thing,
Scarlet
right?
Witch, like...
The thing...
I love what they
the
did with
thing
that.
I really enjoyed bits and pieces of the TV shows. There are some that I'm like for example, Falcon and Winter Soldier, right?
Sure.
There are bits of it I liked. I turned around and said, though, why couldn't this just be a movie? Right? Like, it feels like you're dipping a toe in the water to see if people are okay with a black guy being Captain America, right?
Which is
so
weird.
Yeah, like...
Especially for Disney, who
But
are
here's the thing, right?
Pandering
Like,
fucking rollovers.
We've done all that, and I've said to you, Grant, many times, the biggest mistake I think Marvel made was having pivotal moments in the TV show. Because there are a lot of
totally agree.
there are a lot of people I know who didn't watch.
Because I missed a lot of those pivotal moments. I remember a couple of times where you were like, "Oh man, you remember when fucking we got to see like He Who Was Left Behind?" And I was like, "Oh yeah,
What?
He Who Remains.
Wait a minute. Yeah, He Who Remains. Sorry, I thought it was
Kang
He Who
variant.
Multiverse
I
of
was like-
Madness,
I
you're
was
like
like,
Scarlet Witch is evil now?
Well, no,
What?
that's
Like,
the thing, right?
See,
that was the big thing.
I liked that, but then after that movie, I found out about House of M, and I was like, "Well, shit! Now we're not going to get that."
But also,
we
but it
still
makes
might,
no sense
but-
for her. Like,
but,
she
like-
was a hero. She was a
It's
she was
not
a fucking hero.
It's not that I don't like, right? If you
I
go
like coattails.
House of M, even Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
in an interview said, preparing for the role, she read a bunch of comics, and her favorite one was House of M, and she said, yeah, but then she has 2 kids and they're taken away and she goes on a murder spree. I don't think the MCU is going to do that, and then they did.
Yeah.
Right?
But
the problem with it
she
was...
doesn't have 2 kids. They're not her kids.
The problem with it...
They Daenerys Targaryen.
Exactly.
They
That's
made
my...
it too quick.
You could totally make her evil. They don't justify her getting there at all.
Yeah.
The problem I have, whether or not you think it's justified,
No, it's
doesn't
not.
happen in a movie, right?
Yeah,
and
it
here's
happens
the
in that
thing.
also-
Here's the thing.
That is also a problem. Yes,
Even
I
though
agree.
Doctor Strange was touted as like the horror movie of the MCU,
Yeah.
and if you haven't watched Werewolf by Night, I highly recommend it. Because it's so detached and it's just, if you like cheesy B grade,
I haven't
it's
heard
good.
of it. I'll check it out.
It was a Halloween special they did in the MCU, but it's
I've
like
seen the pops.
it's black, white, and red.
That's all
no.
I've seen. That's all I've seen of it.
Anyway,
But yeah.
you had all of these young girls who fell in love with Scarlet Witch.
I was one of them.
And then she had a TV show, and there were good and bad parts of WandaVision, but
See, I liked WandaVision. I did like.
I did, and I'll get to where I'm going in a sec. But they gave her a reason to be murderous witch, which is corruption of the Darkhold and taking her kids away, right? And whether you like WandaVision or not, that was a pivotal thing that was in a TV show that not everyone watched.
Okay.
And then you had a bunch of people who are like, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch is in it. She's a big character.
What the fuck?
You have all these people, and all of a sudden she's on a murder spree.
Yeah. No.
Not
like, you had TV as well.
not any explanation. It was just she's like coy for the first 5 seconds, and Doctor Strange sees through it, and then she's on a murder spree, and like murder spree.
Yeah.
Right.
And you had to do homework for your films. Like I completely agree.
And so the point
It's a
I'm getting
problem.
to is that I feel like, for good or for bad, Marvel has actually slowed down and is putting more intent and thought into what they're making, because like we just, at least at the time of recording, we've just had D23. At D23, we got a look at a lot of stuff that's been in the works for a while that was slowed down for quality control. And like, even if you don't like Sam Wilson as Captain America New World Order is actually looking like it will be an okay film.
That's a bar you want to hit. It's gonna look okay.
No.
That's a real uphill.
No.
From
This is the
last
thing.
one,
If we're
though.
talking about Marvel being in the grave, I think okay is okay.
No.
If I go there and it's a good movie, then I'm surprised, but I'm tempering my expectations because I've been burnt in the past.
That's my problem. I think we shouldn't have any expectation. I think and especially after Deadpool, I actually think that they are just they've learned the wrong lessons from all of these things. What they know now is that people want funny jokes at Marvel, but not too many funny jokes because, guys, we pay the bills, or Disney, or whatever. And
if that was the case, then She-Hulk would have been a success.
She-Hulk has many other problems beyond that.
It does, but
Deadpool, She-Hulk spits on the fans. You watch it and it goes, "I hate you." Yeah. Deadpool is like, "Come here, this is actually good. I swear. Look at this guy you like. Look at this character you like." This is my problem. I think it's actually just further cementing. Like, they're looking at all the money and going, "Hey, this is done well. We just need to do more of this." But even though
you're still lumping it in with the MCU.
Yeah, I am, because it's part of it.
But it's not.
It is. They literally have the TVA in it.
Yeah.
They literally have the reason the multiverse exists. One of the biggest reasons the fucking MCU is in shambles. And they put it in it. Why? Because they wanted to get Deadpool exactly where they need him.
Yeah.
By sacrificing the character, by sacrificing any writing standards, by sacrificing previous films that actually had good writing.
Because they came up with a bunch of jokes that were kind of funny, and it was like, you know what? Okay, we'll just write around these jokes. And which, when you've had a movie that has been cancelled so many times from the script level, because the last version of Deadpool, Deadpool 2 was initially supposed to be Deadpool stealing the red chair from The Voice. That was literally going to be the storyline.
Well, the initial thing for Deadpool 3 before they had Wolverine
was Methuselah.
No. That was one of the scripts, right? But since after Deadpool 1, they've wanted to get Wolverine into it.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
I'm sure they've wanted to for a long time, yeah.
Because that's, it's a big comic book thing, what have you. The original story was a road trip with the Pinder.
That's right. Yes.
That would be amazing.
I forgot about that.
But if we want to get
Disney shot that down.
And this is okay? But this is my point. You guys are agreeing with my points, but then going, no.
Because the thing is, we're agreeing with your points, but you're saying that these points are worth a mountain when it's a molehill.
No, it's not a molehill. This is the entire crux. They're willing to sacrifice stories, which is what they've been doing throughout the whole MCU phase 4 and 5.
Deadpool hasn't been that.
Then why did you even go? If you didn't care, why did you even go? You want to laugh.
The honest truth, because I watched Deadpool 1, and I also love is it Hutch? Hutch is far out. Now my brain is not working.
Starsky and Hutch.
No. The Will Smith superhero movie.
Oh, Hancock.
Hancock. I fucking love Hancock, right?
Sure.
And I love it for all those reasons. I love the boys' comic books. I haven't watched the TV show because I'm worried they're going to ruin things. And
they toe the line.
Yeah, I've heard there are some things where they've done pretty well and some things where they haven't. And I love Carl Urban, so I should just fucking watch it. But I really like the juxtaposition of the superhero movie that is not a big heroic fucking movie, and in fact, it's actually quite a crass. Ultimately, a bunch of fart and dick jokes. And if it has some really awesome action scenes in it, then that's fine. But I really like the writing that Reynolds puts in Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. It reminds me a lot of Hancock.
So you like the writing? You enjoy the story?
I like the dialogue. No, I enjoy the writing. I didn't say anything about the story.
Why are they separate?
Because dialogue has nothing to do with
it can,
you can have good characters and then have a shitty story. Right. Like I said, No Way Home for me. I really like the characters. The story's a mess, right?
Right.
But why do they have to be divorced?
Well, why do they have to be together?
Because it makes for a better film. Well, that's what I'm arguing.
Look, I want to say, I don't actually disagree with you, right? And my suggestion to you is, when you choose to watch it, however you choose to watch it. Skip the first part.
We know Nettie better than this. He's gonna stand. He's gonna die on this fucking
I will happily watch it with you guys.
No, But
I'm not going to die on this hill.
Like,
I'm having a conversation with you guys.
Genuinely, okay, I'm actually like really quite proud that you said that. I thought you were just going to...
No, what's the point of this podcast if I'm going to be that kind of cunt? Like, you know?
I'm glad that we can have these conversations, and I don't want to discredit anything you have, but we are
We've only got 3 points in the notes.
I know, and I think
honestly,
honestly, we should table the rest of it until we watch the movie together.
No.
Right?
That is actually pretty important, to be completely honest.
But the thing is...
Because I think then you'll realise just how little they, like, wanted this to be a MCU movie.
Okay.
Honestly, the only TVA aside, because the TVA is woven throughout everything. It was their tether to the multiverse.
Is it though?
No, it is.
It is.
It's one scene and then a bunch of...
Kang did everything. Loki ruined everything. I mean, they've ruined everything many, many times, but Loki literally came along and said, yeah, no, Iron Man didn't have any choice. Kang decided it. They're not characters. Yeah,
I haven't watched.
No one's
season
watched
2.
Loki. Oh no! Don't even worry about season 2. It has nothing to do with Kang.
I did watch season 1.
You want to know what's interesting though? Why isn't Loki in this film? He's incredibly important because of what happens at the end of season 2 of Loki. No one's fucking watched it because it's a shit show.
And
you know who has? I have.
Yeah, because
you know why I'm not watching Marvel anymore? Because I watched Loki season fucking 2, and it's a piece of garbage.
And that's fine, but
And
I
do you want to know what happens at the end of Loki?
Deadpool's part of the MCU. He's not.
He is, dude.
He's
This
not.
is literally them obtaining.
He's stealing from the MCU, but he's not
in a
part
meta
of
sense,
it.
he's stealing
Honestly-
MCU. In a reality, he's a part of the MCU.
Honestly, at a high level, this is them getting a backdoor to use him in Secret Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. They've confirmed that Wolverine is going to be a part of the Avengers for the next 2 films. And I'm sure they want way more. Like, this...
Oh, look, I mean, the fact that they actually have the X-Men, like, property back in their
grasp.
bag.
Yeah, totally.
Of course. I mean, like, they literally built the Eternals because they didn't have the X-Men.
No. They did
why it got made.
Inhumans because they didn't have X-Men.
Yes,
they did the Eternals because it was in contention as to whether or not they would get X-Men back.
Yeah.
And they made Eternals, and ironically, just before it released, they got X-Men back.
Literally, it was very, very quickly beforehand.
Until X-Men came back in, the mutants didn't exist in the Marvel MCU. So...
Yeah.
Right? Like, Scarlet Witch and
actually,
Quicksilver don't count as mutants. They're something else.
Yeah, they're... Yeah,
they're superpowered individuals.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys want me to watch the film and then have this conversation, I'm happy to. But I still think there's one thing that I want to talk about, and it is about a film I have seen, which is Logan, and how Logan is used in this film.
Okay,
right?
Go for it.
So,
oh, no.
Logan, quite literally, now in the Logan universe, is dug up 20 minutes later after he dies, because Deadpool is too stupid to realize that he's dead, because he thinks his healing factor will heal him, even though he knows that he dies because he's an anchor being, which is a awful concept, by the way. Now, entire universes can die because of the whims of one person, and they die, and that's it.
It was
it's a meta thing?
It was one of my complaints. Right. It's not 20, in terms of timelines,
it's so bad.
Maybe 20 minutes. But one of my complaints was the time doesn't add up. Because
Logan's alive when Deadpool is going back in time or going through the different universes?
Well, no.
Yes.
So here's the thing, right? What year does Logan die in the Logan movie?
2029.
Right?
Yes.
It's set in 2024, and that is a decomposed corpse.
Yeah.
Right?
Why?
Yeah.
So he had to have gone forward in time to when Logan is dead. Also,
or he went to the wrong universe.
Well, no. They say
he's dug it up in his universe. Yeah. The problem is that they're very loosey-goosey with time, because not only that, X-23 is also like a grown woman now.
He would go back in 2024 to get a more prime Logan, because Logan in 2029 is fucked up. And you want to look at a loudmouth, brutal fucking film where the hero isn't really the hero and he's saving maybe a few people. Logan, fucking fantastic film that does that. It's not as brash and comedic, obviously, as
I watched Logan. I don't think it's good.
No. I know you have. I'm just saying it's not a comedy.
I do think it's a good movie.
It is that right. But in this film, they have a goofball, the paradox. Good God. Mouthing the words, this is what it feels like. They take one of the most beautiful, poignant scenes and they have an absolute moron just mouthing these words. A moron we don't know about, by the way. Also, what is his motivate? He murders entire universes because they're going to get murdered anyway. Also, anchor being. So Logan, the entire sacrifice he made at the end of that film is completely moot because now that he's dead, that whole universe is done for. This is disgusting. This is not their property.
It is a MacGuffin.
And no, it's worse than a MacGuffin. It's taking an established thing and going, now, by the way, when you watch Logan, 20 minutes later, Deadpool's going to come dig him up. And also some goofball's going to have video of him and he's just watching him die and he's mouthing the words over it it's so insulting when these people have an absolutely destroyed universe that they destroyed themselves, and now they're taking these other things that had quality. I mean, not all of X-Men is quality, not all the X-Men films are quality, but they're taking these things that did have quality, and they're taking the quality and they want that because they use that to sell to all these people that they've made money off of and go, look at this thing you remember, or look at this thing you wanted. And then they remove all of the things that came before that mattered in these stories. They remove any context that actually made sense because they want to get from point A to point B in the way that they want to do. It's what Marvel has been doing this entire time, and that is my biggest problem with it. But the wool has been pulled over everyone's eyes because everyone liked this movie. Well, I liked Logan, and I was fucking wary about this piece of shit. Okay?
Look.
And you guys are looking at me, and you can't say that I'm wrong even though I've not seen the film. You know that this is correct. Okay, what about what I've said is incorrect in any way?
Okay, well, for a start, Deadpool is by nature parody.
He parodies things, but he hasn't actively ruined the universes of those things previously.
Okay, so you're saying that Scary Movie has ruined every horror movie that's ever existed because they parodied something in it?
No. What I'm saying is the opposite of that. I'm saying Scary Movie obviously doesn't do that because it's not a part of those actual movies canonically.
I think the point he's making is that even though Deadpool is parody, he's still set within the universe that Logan is set in.
And they've used that to make, like, previously I could be like, Deadpool is its own thing. Like, it's a parody of those things, but it's not actually affecting the Logan universe, which is a very grounded, like, Logan and Deadpool can't actually coincide, right? They're separate things. Like, I mean, the X-Men have multiple timelines already. Like, they've got the
First Class
timeline, and then the old, like, you know, right?
McAvoy,
and then you've got Stewart, right? So it's not inconceivable to be like, Deadpool is his own thing, and he makes fun of these things. And like you said, it's not the actual Colossus.
Yeah.
I wonder why. It's deliberate, but it also makes fun of...
Well, at the same time, I think the Deadpool version of Colossus looks and sounds way more like the comic book version.
Totally.
I want to say, I actually agree with you, right? I do love Logan as well. I'm not going to say I dislike this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Sure.
And again, don't watch the first 5 minutes of it if you really are that, like, invested in Logan. However, the argument I will make, time out of the picture, is that if this, like, story that they've put Deadpool in, right, where he needs a Logan in his universe, or like I said, I have issues with the overarching story. Still enjoyed it, but
sure.
Digging up Logan,
and then using every part of his body,
and then using his body to brutally murder a whole bunch. That's a very Deadpool thing, right? And I get it. And it's also very clear that this is, like, it's Logan's decomposed corpse. The times don't add up, but it's still, like...
Deadpool would do this.
Deadpool would do it, and it was, like, it was funny. And...
Yeah, sure.
I don't think...
I would have been miserable in that scene.
I know you would.
I have seen it. It's miserable.
For you,
yeah,
yes.
I was gonna say.
So, it's subjective.
It is subjective.
Look, every kind of movie opinion is going to be subjective.
That was going to be my point, though.
Yes.
An opinion will be, but there are still merits. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, you just made my point, though, is that it is completely subjective, right? Stubby and I have read a lot of comic books and are big fans of Deadpool and the comedic dialogue and character that has been born out of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whether it's right or wrong, there are degrees of forgiveness that we have for certain aspects of the movie.
Okay.
And as a result, we have enjoyed a movie that you will probably not enjoy as much as we do.
Yep.
But it's subjective. And I think that's the point that we've reached with superhero movies, not just Marvel, superhero movies as a whole, comic books and everything like that. There's a point at which it's all subjective now. I don't think there's going to be a Marvel movie that is going to unanimously be liked by every person who watches it. And I've said that since Iron Man 1.
Okay. Okay. I understand, right? I'm not here to be like, don't enjoy the movie.
No.
Oh, no, I don't get that impression from you at all.
You're right. I'm here to tell you how much this movie made me fucking miserable. My subjective analysis. Through the objective critique of it, right? So me looking at the film objectively in terms of what exists in the movie, what existed before, and how can we gauge it. I don't care about the comics. I don't care about what's come before in terms of separated things. I look at it as a story. I've read a few superhero comics. I fucking love the Sandman comics. They're amazing.
Good read.
They're fantastic. Whatever. But I look at the Deadpool films with what they've presented in the current universe that Deadpool's supposed to be in. Deadpool 1, 2, and now Deadpool and Wolverine, right? You can go in and enjoy it. I enjoy The Room. I think that movie's fucking hilarious.
I fucking love The Room. Brings you to the cry.
Good Lord, it's a piece
I will
of shit,
never
though.
argue that movie's a good movie just because I like it.
No,
I cried when Captain America went back in time in Endgame and gave the shield to the Falcon, and the way that Chris Evans delivers, I wanted to see what Tony was speaking about, right? Like, that got me. That is an objectively poor scene, though. That got me because of subjective things that's happened to me and in my own, worldview, which is what all subjective stuff is. But objectively, that scene's poor. You actually pointed it out to me, Stubbs. You were the one who convinced me that it was a poor scene, and you were right, because the time travel stuff in that movie doesn't warrant Captain America to be able to go back, because everything still happens the same way. That's what they say in the movie, whether that makes sense or not, which it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
There's been a lot of people trying to make it work.
Of course they are, because they want this thing that they love subjectively to make sense, which is why objectivism is important. Something can't be completely objective or completely subjective. If that were the case, I would go around just being like, this movie has this, and this in it. I didn't feel a thing. Subjectively, I would go into a movie and be like, The Room made me laugh so hard. This is definitely a great comedy. That wouldn't work. We need to marry both, because objectively, they write something to try and get a subjective experience out of you, right? This film, objectively, is poorly written because it sacrifices characters and character motivations and world building for the sake of goofy laughs, which could still happen in a good movie that actually has a good story that makes sense. We could still have all that. Yeah. We could have had Gambit throwing cards in a movie that was good. No, we absolutely could. No, and that would have been really exciting. Why not? Why can't we have a Cajun man who throws cards and has a glowy purple stick, but we can have a short Wolverine man with
Fox got bought by fucking Disney.
I'm saying like subtextually, right? Like in terms of like what could happen. You could have the goofiest shit.
We could also have a Deadpool and Wolverine that's 5 hours long and ends up winning an Academy Award.
And exactly, we need to hold these people to higher standards. This
and
is
you
my
don't like multiverse.
Exactly. No, I don't. It's not about whether I like multiverse or not. I reckon they have butchered it miserably. Like,
I think you're looking too deep into it. Like
but like if we stop there, that conversation just stops everything because it's like, well, how deep am I supposed to look? How deep? How surface? What if I say I think you're looking at it too surface level? Okay, let's move on now. Like it ends the conversation. That's a conversation.
I honestly, I think I sit between you two.
That's what I mean. Like that's what I'm shocked about.
This is right.
I love it.
This is the thing, right? And I think this is like the overarching thing. I agree with you. The story has problems. I think there is a storyline and there is a storyline that you can follow. And for the average viewer, that is enough, because an average viewer who's going to watch a, slapstick comedy where there's two of their favorite characters that are finally on screen together and there's like payoffs of things that people have wanted for so long, there is almost blanket forgiveness for a lot of problems. And then if you go look at the critiques from professional reviewers and film reviewers and stuff like that, most of them will point that out. It is a funny movie with characters that have relatively well-written dialogue in a like storyline that is badly paced.
It literally, I mean, this movie does just go from like one situation to the next. And to be honest, the whole thing with like Wade and Vanessa, that was so out of my brain, like not even 20 minutes in, because I didn't care.
Right?
Okay, I didn't care about that, but like I liked the joke about him being so like, I'm giving up on life. I'm going to literally staple a toupee to my fucking head and be a used car salesman.
But
I thought that was fucking great.
If I take this, and I know, and I know and I agree with you that story is important and that dialogue is important and characters are important. They should all marry together. But I'm going to be real. It is all, and we've said it's subjective. I'm a massive Deadpool fan. I'm a massive Wolverine fan. The whole thing where, like, I know it wasn't a great setup for him to get to the point, but when he's searching for his new Wolverine, and he's going through, and we're seeing comic book accurate Wolverine. We're seeing
like 4 foot tall.
The cavalry. We're seeing the
massive
the crucified
one, but right. Also the one from.
Why do those matter to you guys?
Why?
That? Tell me why those matter to you guys. Why?
Because it's fan service, and that is
literally yeah.
Can we not have fan service? Why do we care about these characters in the first place? This is the problem, right? You guys are like, okay. And so many people have eaten it up. This is my problem. This is why story matters to me. And this is why I have problems with the success of this film. Because people are going, you guys said to me, I fucking loved Deadpool.
I've got a perfect answer for this. So
okay,
say your piece.
Sure. Like, people are like, I fucking love Deadpool, including you guys. When I said I fucking hate this, you guys were like, what?
That's what, no, I instantly was like, we need to press record.
We need to press record. I wanted to hear,
which is why I haven't been berate like crazy.
No,
right?
Sure.
Because I don't think that what you're saying is like a manufactured thing from what someone else's opinion is. I think you have like genuinely you've read these things that like people have put down and you're like, no, my opinion on just like what that is, even at a surface level, already gets to me. If I see it in fucking person, it's gonna get to me even more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I totally am. I totally on that level.
I am still curious as to whether watching the movie and having like additional context
that would be an excellent experiment. To be completely honest,
change your opinion on any of it.
I'll do it with you guys, so you get my raw. Like I laugh easily at shit as well, so I'll probably like laugh without.
And then at the end, still go, that was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I'll fucking hate it. But like, why do we like these characters? Because you don't just like these characters because they exist. There's a beginning point when you go, this character's cool because of something. Right now, you like these characters because they exist in this film. Here's
my answer.
Yeah.
Venom is my favorite character of all time of any fucking media ever known to man.
Yeah, and you're one of the most critical people about him as well.
And he has been represented so fucking shitly in everything except one fucking video game, right? The fact that they brought these characters in and give them a quick 2-second thing, even if it's just 2 seconds, but it's not like as if he's got Magneto behind him controlling him doing this shit, right? It's in the context of if Deadpool just suddenly rocked up into that universe, yeah, that Wolverine would start stabbing the piss out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Wolverine would like jump off his fucking chair and be 3 foot. The ones that they have shown, even though they are for a quick punchline, are actually like kind of almost observational humor in how those characters were shown. The crucified one and all that kind of stuff, right? I guess we could say that it's kind of lucky, in inverted commas, that we don't get to see anything post or pre to that because they can ruin that. But that quick moment that you see it is actually comic book accurate.
So
For that.
and
What? Because Venom isn't 4'5".
You mean Wolverine?
No, because Venom isn't 4'5" and being
Topher
played by fucking Topher Grace saying, "I like being mad. It makes me happy."
Okay.
Right.
Sorry.
And he's also not a fucking alien who was never attached to Spider-Man, and so we don't get the white spider anymore. But now we've got a symbiote that fucking talks to Eddie saying, "I'm a loser, Eddie, like you."
I was a loser like you.
Fuck you for writing that. But I know that a lot of people have gone and seen that movie, and they're like, "Oh, dude, Venom's fucking awesome." And I'm like, yeah, Venom is. That's not Venom, but I'm glad you enjoyed the movie.
But these are adaptation arguments.
Can
what you're
tag
arguing?
on the end?
Oh, sorry, go. Yeah.
So, and I think this plays into your Venom argument as well. I was just thinking about it in the realm of fan service and you asking why we like these characters. I think the reason we love Deadpool 1 and 2 for any issues they have, and now this, is because even if the story that encompasses it isn't great, the character carries it, right? The character is so quintessentially Deadpool.
He's not. That's the problem. He's not Deadpool. He's a flanderized version of Deadpool. He's a facsimile. Deadpool has morals. He doesn't just do whatever. He wouldn't just leave a Wolverine up, a personal hero of his, up on a crucifix and just leave him there and be like, "Oh, sorry." He wouldn't
kills
be
him instead.
Well, wait, what do you mean?
And Deadpool kills the X-Men and Deadpool kills the world.
Like, Deadpool has killed the whole universe. Deadpool's killed himself.
I'm talking
but,
about
like,
the movies. We're not
No,
talking about the
I
comics.
understand
about
that.
the character.
But this is what we're talking about with the character, right? I think the reason why they pushed to get the two characters together so quickly and to carry them through the movie is because this is the, like, Logan aside, right? This is the Wolverine that everyone has been waiting to see on screen. This is the Wolverine that swears, that calls people bub, and isn't afraid to just stab someone because he's pissed off. It is a characterization, like just the fucking yellow suit, let alone the cowl coming up. So many people have waited decades for that to happen.
Why?
Because
they like the yellow suit.
No, because that's
Because
the way
they
the
like
character
the
was
Wolverine
introduced.
short.
That's because that's how the character was introduced.
Because they like Wolverine as a character.
Yes.
He's not a character in this. He's not the Wolverine we love. He's the worst Wolverine. Which he isn't. He isn't a Wolverine who's a Nazi or who sells slaves.
Look,
There's
okay,
no
that
way
I
this
will actually
Wolverine-
pay you are completely correct on. When they did say that he was the worst Wolverine, I was like, nah, I can imagine a whole bunch of worse
And
ones.
in the multiverse, there would be those versions,
Yeah.
right?
And
Totally.
We got the Wolverine who swears and murders people in Logan. He was Wolverine. He didn't have to wear the yellow suit. He didn't have to have the white eyes. He didn't have to be saying bub. We know he's Wolverine because of the character that he is, the way he's portrayed. If it's just a yellow suit that is important, none of these movies matter.
The yellow suit is like...
I'm just using it as an example.
No, I know. But it's
exactly what I'm pointing out.
I know. But if you wanted to turn around to me and say that this movie is only successful because it is a movie with nothing but fan service,
Yeah, it is.
I'd agree with you and I'd still be okay with it. Because the fan service that drives that movie to be enjoyable for me and for Stubby and for a whole bunch of other people that go there to watch it, it made an enjoyable experience for me. I can sit and nitpick about it, and I can sit and nitpick about it.
And look, and I'll joke that no, shut up, it's perfect.
Right.
But
But at the end of the day,
I am kidding when I say that.
Yeah, no, of course. It's hyperbole. I understand.
at the end of the day, like, I grew up reading X-Men comic books.
Yeah.
I have been reading Deadpool for a long time. The animated series, right?
Sure.
And that's the thing, right? Like, yes, the yellow suit is...
It's iconic. It's iconic.
yeah,
to the character.
it's an icon. It's an icon to the character. The behavior of the character is one thing, but then you look at the multiverse, and there's so many different portrayals of Wolverine throughout it.
And there's an infinite portrayal.
Yeah,
There really is.
There's an
But
and that's the thing.
and none of them have been
so-
that yellow
yet-
cowled
yet
suit yet.
This
But
was the
until
worst
now.
Wolverine.
And
No,
yet,
look,
I loved it.
the worst Wolverine, like the backstory of it, I don't agree with either. But the actual, like, delivery from Hugh Jackman, the way they portrayed the character, backstory aside, like the actual character itself, was the Wolverine that I've been waiting since X-Men live action movies to see.
Also,
right?
I mean, you would have seen it because there's been enough clips of it on, like, fucking YouTube and shit like that. But the sequence, the short sequence where he sits there and fucking goes off at Wade, like, in the car, like, I mean, just for that piece of dialogue and the way that Hugh Jackman delivers that.
I agree. Hugh Jackman is a great actor.
And he is. Like, but like, and,
I agree with that.
But he is, though. He is a good actor. But, like, the way he delivers that short bit of dialogue, like, it's he could have just fucking phoned that in and people still would have paid $1 million to kiss his ass.
No, he's a professional. Like, he does his fucking job, but he's reading shit lines. Like, why is he going off at Wade? Like, what's the point? This isn't even the Wade that we care about. If this Wade is, and this is my problem. It's a movie that's been successful because of fan service.
Yep.
And sacrificing previous stories. It's not just the fan service that I have a problem with. I like fan service. Vader at the end of Rogue One is probably the only thing I like about that movie.
Oh,
I
ouch.
am sorry, but I
Ouch.
kind of agree with you.
Oh, no!
Right?
Right? I thought it was like not to use the
Actually,
language,
K2SO is awesome as well.
not to use the language of the youth, but I
That's
thought
because Alan Tudyk is a fucking legend. But anyway, that's beside the point.
True.
That's
not to use
Pat.
the language of the youth, but I thought that Rogue One was relatively mid until like you
Until
hear
it
the
hit fire
breathing.
peak. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
then
yeah, I would agree.
But I'll be
That's-
honest. I'll be honest.
Judas's.
I'll be honest. His opinion of Marvel, I have
Is
a
correct.
very similar opinion of Star Wars at the moment.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
don't we all?
Oh, it's...
Look, honestly,
Let's
Rogue
not get
One
into
is,
Star Wars.
Look, Rogue One is the last, like, Star Wars movie, like, Star Wars anything movie.
yeah, I don't
that
think
really-
Rogue One is offensive in any way. Like,
But that's the thing, like, I like the fact that it was a story about just ordinary people in that universe.
and different people
And
who aren't connected to, like...
I didn't need lightsaber whooshy fucking cowed wizards fucking going. Blah, 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 blah.
we
Right?
should
Like,
watch
it was
The
all
Acolyte
nods.
together.
Oh, that would be
We
a
should
thing,
watch
wouldn't it?
The
That would
Acolyte.
be a
Anyway,
thing.
But-
on topic though,
But
I
that is my problem. It is all a sacrifice to good story, and that is why I'm upset. If like I said, fan service can be really fun.
It does surprise me a little bit that, like, the sacrificing of the MCU, like, storylines, when you
Deadpool's
hate
as well.
them as much as you do. Like,
I used to like them.
Yeah,
I used to enjoy them.
used to.
And they're shitting on
But,
all
like-
the ones I really liked.
And say, well, that's the funny thing. I think they're really not shitting on, like, with the exception of Logan. Yes, okay, they do shit on that if you do go down that road. Like, personally, I really didn't even think too much of it, except when he dug him up and he goes, "Motherfucker, he's actually dead." And I was like, okay, you know what? That's good, because at least they didn't pull him out of a coffin and he went, "Yeah, I'm fucking Wolverine." That would have been
He didn't
far
have
worse.
to. He should have seen him alive.
But that's the thing, like, I think, to me, that would have been far worse, right?
Yeah.
That would have
And
been,
then
yes.
as soon as NSYNC started up, I was pissing myself laughing. I just thought that was, like I said, it's dumb, fucking
and here's
Deadpool
the thing.
fun,
Yeah.
like...
Here's
you
the
know.
thing. Knowing you
But-
the way
but
that
sorry,
we do,
I
and
just-
saying that you laugh easy, I can almost guarantee you that you will laugh your way through the movie, and then, as Grant said,
And cry
tell
at
us
the
it's
end.
shit.
Yeah,
No.
cry during the credits.
But there will be, like, but it won't really matter to me. Like, because, okay, I'm going to actually add to my thing. I'm going to put an addendum. They're sacrificing stories that they've made, but also sacrificing just world building and storytelling in general. They have no interest in telling us a good story. They want to feed us crap.
I don't
And
think they want to do world
worked.
building though, because like I
Not
said,
anymore.
It's not
They used
part
to
of
care.
the MCU. Deadpool never built a
No,
world.
I'm not. Okay.
Yeah.
Deadpool,
yeah,
no, Deadpool
MCU
did build a
did.
world. Deadpool absolutely did. I'm not saying it needs to be in your face. I'm not saying it needs to be super subtle or whatever. I just want it to be good. I just want it to be well written. I want them to care about the story they're telling me. They're sacrificing the Deadpool world. They sacrifice Deadpool's character. They sacrifice Vanessa's character. They sacrifice Cable. Where's Cable? This is super important to him. His world is going to cease to exist.
The Cable thing's actually interesting because now this goes into the other things that I wanted to talk about with this movie.
Oh, yeah.
We're already in an hour and a half.
Well then this can be an addendum.
I'm up to point 3. Let's go. I haven't even brought out the fucking TVA yet.
Someone in an interview recently actually asked Josh Brolin, like, oh, so like, you know, how come you weren't in Deadpool 3? He's like, I never got
asked. Yeah,
I never got called. I never got asked.
And look, I will say
funny
a
they
lot
got all
of
these A-listers.
No, a lot of my research has gone. So it's kind of funny because it's a bit like Deadpool 1 in that. So Deadpool 1 was like leaked.
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
So good,
And,
so good.
It's all but been confirmed
Pat did
that
quotes.
Ryan Reynolds was behind at least some of it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Right?
it was definitely a 3-way effort. It was definitely a 3-way effort.
But it was still a risky movie to make because the character had no pre-established thing. That's why
It had
his
one video game, really.
his, like-
Well, the comics, but no film.
but like, yeah, but that's the thing. Even
Yeah.
the comics though was
Right.
so like low.
It
Now-
was a cult hit.
now-
Like, totally.
Marvel/Disney bought the rights to Fox properties, which were X-Men, X-Force, Deadpool, etc.,
Spider-Man.
etc., etc. But
Oh,
as
Spider-Man.
we
Sorry,
have
Spider-Man.
established, Marvel was in the shitter, right? And so they've slowed down.
Hence
They've
why we
been
got
more
good Marvel
intentional,
vs. Capcom video games,
Right.
And
and
then the dark times came.
and they've
the
been
Empire.
they've been ever so slightly like spoon feeding the mutants are coming, right?
Yeah.
We had the end of Miss Marvel where it was there's something mutant in your DNA and then the little in the background, right? They had fucking in the Marvels fucking Beast,
Yeah.
right? Like they had been building to this point, and
How far
At
into it was Tom Holland's Spider-Man brought into it? Because he was Civil War, yeah?
Yeah.
Civil War was
So-
his first movie.
Technically, he was the first mutant. Technically, he was the first mutant.
Does he count as a
He
mutant?
doesn't count as a mutant.
I
How
think.
does he
I think.
not?
I think.
His DNA is mutated from the spider bite.
I think. I think that I don't like. I think just like semantically, he doesn't. I don't even know in the comics, but like in the MCU, he was just a person who had been given superpowers. Like they wouldn't call him a mutant, so he would.
Okay. So
Even though
because-
yes, he
because
does. I think
he
Spider-Man
didn't have-
joins
he
the
didn't
X-Men at
have-
some point.
the way that they
No,
distinguish
he's had
it,
cameos, but he hasn't
Yeah,
really been.
right.
the way they
But-
distinguish
but-
it,
And with the Avengers and with like
honestly-
right. Yeah. So I think it's like just an odd distinction.
the way they distinguish it in all of like the comic books and stuff like that is that you're a mutant if you're born with the
if you're
mutant
born
X
with
gene.
the powers. Okay, yeah, okay.
Not born with the powers, born with the mutant X gene. Because Deadpool's not born with his powers, they give him an injection to awaken the gene
Yeah.
within him. If he's got it, if not, it kills him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yep. No, I still corrected on that one.
Right? So they've been building to this point, but Marvel's in the shitter.
Yeah.
So there was a pretty strict budget to work with, which is probably why we saw some late changes with not so great CGI,
But
right?
they've had those shit CGI for a long time.
No, they have. Don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of things that were, and like I said, I'd be interested to see the cutting room floor because RDJ was meant to be in it, and then he got cast as Doctor Doom. They cut him out of it because it would be expensive to put him in the movie.
Yep.
Ben Affleck was supposed to be in it as his version
As
of Daredevil,
Daredevil, yeah.
along with Elektra. They cut him because he was too expensive,
Yeah.
right?
But
Plus,
I
there was
still kind of like the Jennifer Garner joke because they used to be married.
yeah. But also, the other thing was, you notice that they didn't de-age any of them either. And
You know
part
what?
of it,
That's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Right.
But that's true.
right? Thing is that Ben Affleck is a very different body build to when he was Daredevil, and they would have had to they would have had to do some work CGI wise to de-age him and like.
Yeah, because Marvel don't have that sort of money. You're right.
No. They don't get me wrong. They do.
Wow.
They do. But every movie has a budget, right? And like,
And also, this is not a Marvel movie.
it is.
Grant, you gotta
No, it's
stop
not.
saying that. You really do.
Dude, it's like, I'm not even kidding. Like, Marvel is not on
Yet
the
Kevin
product.
Feige is counting them dollar bills.
Yeah, because it's an IP that they've bought from, like, the...
Who bought it?
Fucking Ryan Reynolds in his fucking Black Book.
No, he sold it to the people who now distribute it and who distributes it.
Because it's Disney.
And who do Disney own? With all these characters that they're trying to make money off of. Also, who did Disney, like, who did the Avengers, who were they owned by?
Well, actually, Avengers was in
I
the
think
pipeline.
I think we're
Disney came
getting
along.
into semantics.
I'm being dead serious because I'm pretty sure.
It is still an MCU movie.
Thank you, Pat.
See,
It is an
I'm
MCU
gonna
movie.
kiss you.
Don't fight me on it. You
Don't
will
fight me.
lose.
You know me.
I'm
will
not.
find you. I know
Look,
where you
guys,
live.
we have argued this quite a bit this evening.
What? I thought we've all agreed.
are good? I was just gonna say. Well, that's the thing. We all agree, but we all
want to
we all
end
have differing weights on what like really matters to
that-
us, like individually.
Yeah.
So
and like opinions
and that's
on
why
it, right?
that's why the
Sure.
three of us have come to three like wildly different.
I'm
ends of the
surprised
spectrum.
that you guys have ended up in different spots, which is that was interesting.
No, I to be honest, I think we're still in the same spots we started in. I just think that our approach to comedy and different IPs and stuff like that is just different. Like Grant, and this is nothing against you.
Oh, no, I will be.
Do you want me against you? No, but
hard up
Oh
against
no,
me.
Pat, he's
you-
taking it hard. Shut it down.
Yep. It's all
for
sweaty.
you paid money to go see a comedy and you left laughing your pants off.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So for you, that movie's a success.
And yeah, and also like for me, Gambit and like I'm gonna say his fucking name wrong again. Channing Tatum?
Yes,
Tatum?
yes, yeah, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum?
Yeah.
Right? The fact that we've got to see him finally in the comic book accurate get up and doing the Cajun fucking accent.
Oh yeah, this I completely agree with. Him doing a silly voice was awesome. That was great.
You know that he is actually from Louisiana, right?
Him doing a silly voice was so cool.
You're basically saying,
Right.
yeah, how dare you sound like a white Caucasian?
How dare he?
yeah.
Absolutely, how dare he?
What I reckon
Oh
we
my
do.
God.
What I,
I knew that would piss you
Wow.
off.
No, I
fuck
just don't understand. Like
I think we
Grant,
need
that
to.
is that is like the least of my problems with this fucking.
I don't know.
film.
It sounds like it's even
I
like the
think
number
him.
one problem you have.
I think him like if he were a character and he were doing a Cajun accent, I think that would be awesome. Problem is, he's just a silly voice, and he throws a card.
oh my god! Wow,
That's it.
Jesus.
That's all he does.
Okay, you
I
are
think-
trolling
look,
the fuck
Let's
out
not
of me.
mention Johnny Storm and what happens to him, or more importantly, Cassandra Nova and her motivations.
Like I said, it's like
Can-
I don't
can I
understand
just
why
jump
you
in?
look
I think
so
Sorry.
deep
I
into
think
this.
the other thing is that you just like. Oh my gosh!
Why do I look deep?
like it's
Because they
like,
want me to. Do you think they make this shit going, I don't want people to look too much into it? Do you think
Yeah,
they spend
because then
billions
they
of
find,
dollars
like, all these
going,
problems.
I don't want people to look at all these little things and pick up on them
Absolutely
and
they
go,
don't want that.
Yes, they absolutely
Are
do.
you
In
kidding me?
Deadpool, that was one of the fucking carriers from the Avengers. Yeah, they didn't put that in there because they didn't want people to see it. Come on, man.
No,
They shoved it all in your face and you guys are fucking lording over it.
But this is
And you're
the
saying
thing.
they don't want you to notice this shit?
No,
They
because
don't want
then you notice all the
so-
holes in the storylines and shit.
So all the stories that don't have those holes, that actually do a good job and are funny.
Name one.
Are you fucking kidding me? One you love. Alien, motherfucker.
I'm talking about the MCU.
Okay, let's talk about the MCU. Fucking hell.
That's the
Civil
only one that
War
doesn't.
is a fantastic film. Civil War is incredibly good and it has very few flaws. It has incredible characters, it has really funny moments, and it has goddamn serious
I
moments.
really like it, except they're around the wrong way.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Cap is
You're
the
going
one
to bring
who
up the
should-
comics. No,
No,
that's not how
no,
they work
as a
in the
character,
films. No,
Cap
it
should
makes
want-
sense. Film
Cap should
let you
want the
finish.
fucking the restrictions
In the comics,
And Iron
yes,
Man
he
should
does.
want the autonomy.
But they've changed.
as a character. But they didn't change the characters.
Yes, they
though.
did. They did hard
They
work.
were,
It
what,
makes
7
sense.
movies in at that point? Was Civil War number 7?
Fuck.
I know. Right?
Fuck. I have no idea.
But like, yeah, 7 movies in, and they had established like Captain America as like this guy who is so by the fucking rules and like all this kind of shit. And then they turn around and say, "Cool, we're gonna give you some rules." And Cap goes, "We can't do that." Fucking what?
No,
That makes no
Cap
sense.
is very quickly.
And I love Civil War. Is my second favorite fucking MCU movie.
What's your first?
Ragnarok.
Oh, okay, right. You said that before. Yeah, sorry.
Love it.
No, Cap in the first Avengers literally is like, you know, like it made sense which sides we were fighting for before. Now it doesn't make sense. He starts in that movie already starting to misunderstand, or not misunderstand, but push against the status quo. He pushes against Fury in that film, who is the commanding officer. He should listen to him. No, he pushes against it because of Tony, but then Tony also understands why he needs to make those decisions in Civil War because of the things that he's done, because of Ultron. It makes a lot of sense why they end up there, whether you like Ultron or not. Whether you like the first Avengers film, also a fucking clean film. That movie is great.
Oh no. Okay, look, the first Avengers film, yes, but it does still have its holes.
Of all of the Marvel stuff,
it probably has the
it is
least.
actually
probably has
surprisingly
the least.
fucking great. Like, that movie holds up so well. And, like, fucking, it makes sense why they end up in those positions. If you disagree with it, like, subjectively, I can understand that. But just in terms of, like, the actual writing, they put in the work to make sure that those characters ended up in those spots sensically in the film. Like, it makes perfect sense. Which is why I look deep into this stuff, because these characters are characters that I care about. Stories are a lens for humanity to see what we are, what we could be, and the lows that we can get to and hopefully get out of. Stories.
Sometimes those lenses are just a fucking glass
Sometimes
bowl.
someone who has millions of dollars has fucking taken their ass and rubbed it all over that lens, and boy oh boy did they not wipe from the night before. And you can see the lens underneath because you once knew, you looked into it and you were like, I enjoyed looking into this lens because this lens showed me stories that made sense to me, that had characters that I could aspire to, could hate, could loathe, could love, could see myself in, could see other people in, and maybe see the world in a way that we don't always get to see. Stories are really important, and especially to me, like, I like, especially to me, to all of us. Like, there's a reason we go see movies. What the
Moral of the story, don't go and see a movie unless it absolutely moves you to your soul.
No, like, fuck. That's not a bad point.
Oh, no, it is! That is the worst point ever! Fuck you!
You know what? If we only had movies that moved us to our souls, the world would be a better fucking place.
Oh, no, it wouldn't.
That
It
would be a
extinct.
movie. That would be a place without the movie The Room.
Yeah, right?
That moves my soul in a funny way.
That moves my whole...
It moves my funny bone.
Can I say, after that exchange between you two, I feel like I have to fill in and say for Dan because he's not. I'm just happy to be here. Look,
I fucking love you so much.
Can I just end this because, like, we really should.
Yeah.
But what I love,
I've got more points, boys.
and
Actually,
look,
fucking, like...
it would be it would be interesting to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah.
But just read it black and white. Don't give me context. Just read it black and white.
Okay, all right. The TVA and multiverses.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
get into that
I don't know
nutshell.
anything about TVA, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Hang on.
Sorry.
We have
Yeah,
done some of the
sorry,
TVA. And maybe we shelve that for the next one. Because what I reckon we do
All right.
is we go away.
So we'll have a part.
We go away. There will be a part deux.
Pardieu?
Part deux. Maybe a part trois.
I would love a part 3.
But what I reckon we do
Parfait?
is couple months from
no,
now.
parfait.
Couple months from now, when Danny Boy is back on board, we have a Deadpool viewing party. We watch all 3 movies. And then we see if your stance has changed. And
4. Can't do Once Upon a Deadpool. Come on. How dare.
Just to satisfy
Take-
him, I think.
Take the bad with the good.
You're basically watching the same movie twice, just without swearing.
And without a lot of the violence and turned into, like...
Yeah,
okay,
why do you want to watch that? What?
Because it's
I
part
think,
of it.
I think one of the things for us as well is that we have rose-colored glasses or something like that. Like, we have a huge amount of history built up with the characters outside of the movie. So we're getting, like, the fan services for us, right? But this is outside of the movie. This is like a production thing that I alluded to at the start of the movie. So it's come out recently that one of Ryan Reynolds' ideas that I almost came to fruition, they made posters, was that they weren't going to market this as Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool and Friend as it was before the Super Bowl.
That is a fun name. I like Deadpool and Friend.
Deadpool and Friend.
Yeah, there was a public, like, it got leaked. There was a public outcry, and they changed it like 2 hours before it went to the Super Bowl.
Why was there a public outcry?
Because they thought the name Deadpool and Friend was just stupid and dumb and the dumbest.
And yet we're getting Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yeah, like, you know.
Right? But here's the thing.
We're not allowed to have things.
Here's the idea that Ryan Reynolds...
You're right, Grant.
We're not.
You are 100%
we're just not.
fucking
Here's
right.
the idea that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman had.
I know that there was two shelved full scripts, but then...
No. This has nothing to do with the script. This is just how they released the movie.
It was going to be rubbing end holes and huge jacked man.
It was going to be Alpha Cop.
Alpha Cop?
Shut the fuck up.
Right?
What's Alpha Cop?
So
Is that a dog?
they were going to make promotional
dogs.
material, and
Dog
some
Pool is
some
amazing, by the
posters were made of this really shitty B-grade movie called Alpha Cop.
Yeah.
2 brains, 1 body, all balls.
So you're going to say 2 brains,
Right?
1 cup.
And there was posters. Yeah, 2 brains, 1 cop. That was
No,
it was
1 cup. Oh, right. I
no,
get you.
It was
Yeah,
it
that's
was
good.
one, like, it was about a police officer that was being manned by 2 other 2 brains.
Right.
Right? And
I want to see this movie.
That is
they
fun.
made posters and stuff like that, and they had this idea: we'll make this movie, and around America, 10 people will show up on opening day. There'll be 5 minutes of this shitty B-grade movie, and then Deadpool and Wolverine starts playing.
That's a brilliant idea.
And
That's a brilliant idea. That idea also has balls. That has
And it
fucking
never
testes.
happened.
And it never happened.
because, and they said it, and it's true, if any whisper of it came out, the whole point of doing it is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would happen anyway. That's not the point. The point is the initial response. For those people, those 10 people who went in, they would have the fucking time of their lives. That
Unless they were Nettie.
No.
Yeah, unless they were Nettie.
No, if it was a
It's
good
still gonna be
film,
in the same
fuck
movie.
both of you.
No.
Right up your asses.
No,
Look,
no.
I'll go
I'm
blue.
saying that because it would have been the same Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm saying
No,
genuine.
that idea has balls, and they would have had balls throughout the rest of the film. They would have had balls to bring Dopinder back. They would have had the balls to have Negasonic Teenage something or other. Fuck this movie.
We'll see how he feels after he watches it. Anyway, I was Pat.
I was Stubby.
I am continuous and forever will be Nettie.
And clearly Deadpool Wolverine was not the movie
I
that
think
Nettie
we
wanted.
have solved films today, guys.
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah.
I'm glad
Hollywood
we're
will
still
never be the same.
friends. I am happy to be
Oh,
here.
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to Daniel being back. We hope he has a healthy baby.
I'm looking forward to him being more stressed than when he's with his child.
I
His newborn child.
am looking forward to him hearing this and being like, "This was the first podcast you recorded without me."
Yes, but I also like. I don't think it even needs to be said that we're still friends. If this would shake our
fuck,
friendship,
no,
this is not a
Jesus.
good friendship.
No,
Like,
but I
fucking
think it
love you
needs to be
both.
said
I love
because
Dan.
anyone who's not sitting in this room would be like, "Man, these guys fucking hate each other."
It's like-
If we didn't add
Hey, go fuck yourselves. Don't fucking psychoanalyze us, you cunts. Also, you have 2 people and Dan when he's back, 3 people, because he'll agree that you guys can you can fucking hate me, eat a dick otherwise. Fucking prick.
Okay, we'll cut that last part out.
No, keep it in. I'm talking to the invisible audience.
No balls.
I'm talking to the audience.
I
that we
know
don't currently
he's breaking the fourth wall.